The lights in the great hall were too bright. Kim Tae-ho sat at the small human table and felt the weight of 1,000 alien eyes on him. The station called Harmony's Edge was supposed to be neutral ground, but everything about this place screamed that humans did not belong here. Tae-ho was 52 years old. His black hair was turning gray at the sides. He had been a soldier once, long ago. Now he wore the blue uniform of Earth's diplomatic corps. His hands were steady on the table, but inside his chest his heart was beating fast. To his left sat Park Sojin. She was younger, maybe 35, with kind eyes behind wire glasses. She studied alien cultures for Earth's government. She knew more about the beings in this room than almost any other human alive. To his right was Lee Dong-woo, the security chief. Dong-woo was quiet and watchful. He had scars on his hands from Earth's last big war. He never talked about those days. The three humans were alone at their table. Around them, the hall stretched up like a cathedral. But instead of angels in the ceiling, there were floating platforms where alien delegates sat. Some hung from webs, others floated in tanks of water. A few stood on legs that looked like tree branches. The largest platform held the Vector delegation. They looked like walking crystals, tall and sharp. Their leader was Ambassador Velshan. Light moved through his body like colored lightning. When he spoke, his voice sounded like breaking glass in the water tanks. The Morden moved like giant jellyfish. Their tentacles were covered in patterns that changed color when they were angry or excited. Right now, all their patterns were dark. Red dot. The Cathara stood on platforms that looked like honey. They looked like giant ants that walked on two legs. Their mandibles clicked when they talked. The sound echoed through the hall like typewriter keys. Tae-ho had been to many meetings like this, but today felt different. Today felt final. Velshan's platform moved forward. The crystal being was 12 feet tall. When he moved, he made sounds like wind chimes in a storm. "We have called this gathering," Velshan said, "to address the human problem." The human problem. Tae-ho did not let his face change, but his fingers tightened just a little. "For 50 cycles, we have watched your species," Velshan continued. "You expand too fast. You ask too many questions. You go to places that should be left alone." Sojin leaned forward slightly. "We have respected all territorial agreements," she said. Her voice was calm and professional. "We have shared our discoveries with the Council." A Kithra delegate's mandibles clicked rapidly. "You share what you choose to share," the insect being said. "But we know you keep secrets. We know you study things that are forbidden." Dong-woo spoke for the first time. "What things?" His voice was quiet, but it carried across the hall. The aliens looked at each other. Platforms moved closer together. Lights flashed in the water tanks. The Cathara clicked their mandibles in patterns that sounded almost like music. Velshan's body flared with angry light. "The ruins on Kepler 4 to be the artifact from the dead. System of Vega 7, the wreckage from the war between the first ones." Tae-ho nodded slowly. "We study history. It helps us understand the present." "Some history should stay buried," said a Morden from its tank. The water around it turned dark purple. "Some knowledge is too dangerous for young species." "Young species?" Tae-ho repeated. "We have been in space for 200 years. 200 years, Velshan laughed. The sound was like crystal bells breaking. "We have been among the stars for 50,000 years. The Morden for twice that." "The Cathara remember when your son was young." The crystal being's platform moved closer to the human table. "You were children playing with fire. And like all children, you must be taught before you burn down the house." Sojin's hand moved to her tablet. She pulled up star charts and colony reports. "Our expansion has been peaceful. We have not taken any worlds by force. We trade fairly with all species." "Peace," said a Cathara. "Yes, you speak of peace, but we have studied your history, little humans. We know what you are capable of." Tae-ho felt something cold in his stomach. "What do you mean?" The aliens shared looks again, then Velshan spoke. "Your species has been at war for most of its existence. You have weapons that can crack planets. You have poisoned your own world and still survived. You were predators pretending to be diplomats." The hall went quiet. Even the humming of the station's engines seemed to stop. Dong-woo leaned back in his chair. "Every species fights. That's how life works." "No," said the Morden, "not like you fight. We have studied your wars, your World War II, your nuclear weapons, the way you killed each other for ideas and resources. That was a long time ago," Sojin said softly. 50 years, Velshan said. 50 years since your last global war. For us, that is like yesterday." Tae-ho stood up. He was not tall, but something about the way he moved made the aliens pay attention. "You called this meeting to judge us," he said. "So judge us. What do you want?" Velshan's platform rose higher. Light moved through his crystal body like anger, made visible. "The Galactic Council has reached a decision. Humanity will accept the following terms, or face corrective action." The crystal being's voice got louder. "First, no human colony ships will travel beyond the zones we designate. Second, all human military vessels will be monitored by Council observers. Third, all research into pregalactic artifacts will stop immediately. Fourth, Earth will pay tribute to the Council for the cost of monitoring your species." The terms hung in the air like smoke. Taeho looked at his two companions. Sojin's face was pale. Dongwu's eyes were hard as stone. And if we refuse, Taeho asked, then you will learn why young species do not challenge old ones. Velshin said that. Taeho was quiet for a long moment. He looked up at the thousands of aliens watching him, ancient beings who had ruled the galaxy since before humans learned to make fire. When he spoke, his voice was very calm. You think you know us because you studied our wars, but you missed something important. He stepped closer to Velshin's platform. We don't fear war itself. We fear what it awakens within us. For 50 years, we have kept that thing sleeping. We have chosen peace over victory, cooperation over conquest. The aliens listened. Some of them moved closer. You want to see the monster from our history books? Taeho asked. You want to wake up the thing that built nuclear weapons and used them? The thing that fought wars on 6 continents at once? His voice got quieter, but somehow more frightening, because if you push us, if you threaten our children and our worlds, that thing will open its eyes. And when it does, you will learn why it's been sleeping. Velshin's light flared bright. You dare threaten the council? I'm not threatening anyone, Taeho said. I'm giving you information, free of charge, because we still choose peace. He looked around the hall one more time. You have 30 days to think about whether you really want to find out what humans become when they stop choosing peace. The human delegation walked out. Behind them, the great hall erupted in angry lights and sounds. None of the aliens noticed that Dongwu had left a small device under their table. It would record everything they said after the humans left. Some habits from the old wars never really die. The news reached Earth 12 hours after the meeting ended. Cho Minho was eating breakfast when his assistant burst into his office. The young man's face was white with fear. Sir, we just got word from the council station, the assistant said. They gave us 30 days. Minho put down his coffee cup. He was the director of Earth Defense Forces, a job that most people thought was just for show. Earth had been at peace for 50 years. The defense forces mostly helped with disasters and space rescues, but Minho remembered the old days. He was 63 years old. He had been a young officer during Earth's last real war. He knew what humans could do when they had to. Call the emergency council, he said. Authorization code, Red Dawn. His assistant looked confused. Sir, I don't know that code. You will learn it today, Minho said, along with a lot of other things. Within an hour, the emergency council was meeting in a room deep under the Earth Defense headquarters. The room had been built 50 years ago, then sealed. Most people had forgotten it existed. Around the table sat 12 people. They looked like ordinary government officials, but each of them had another job, a secret job that they had hoped they would never need to do. Yoon-haeri was the lead scientist on something called Project Prometheus. Officially, she studied alien technology to improve Earth's computers and engines. Unofficially, she had been building weapons. Kong Soo-bin worked for the Cultural Exchange Program. She helped alien tourists visit Earth, but she was really an intelligence operative. For 20 years she had been mapping alien worlds and studying their defenses. The others had similar double lives. A farmer who grew food for the colonies but who had really been planning how to feed armies. A teacher who wrote children's books but who had been creating training programs for soldiers. Minho looked around the table. Ladies and gentlemen, the sleeping time is over. He pressed a button, and the wall screens came alive. They showed star maps, ship designs, and weapon specifications. Technology that was supposed to be impossible for humans to have. For 50 years we have prepared for this day, Minho said. We hoped it would never come, but hope is not a strategy. Haeri leaned forward. She was a small woman with gray hair, but her eyes were sharp as knives. How long do we have? 30 days. Before they expect an answer. Maybe 60 days before they act. That's enough, said Soo-bin. She was younger, maybe 40, with the kind of face that people forgot after meeting her. Perfect for a spy. The plans are ready. We can begin immediately. Minho nodded. Then, let's wake up the giant. The changes started small. A factory in Korea that made cars suddenly started making something else. Workers came to their jobs and found new blueprints, new materials, new orders. They asked no questions. They just started building. A shipping company in Brazil got new contracts. Instead of carrying clothes and electronics, their ships started carrying metal and chemicals. The manifests said mining equipment. The reality was different. All over Earth, people got new jobs. Old factories reopened. Scientists who had been studying plants and animals suddenly found themselves working on projects they had never heard of. The alien observers noticed, but they were not worried. Young species always panicked when threatened. The humans were probably building shelters or trying to hide their important people. But then the songs started. It began in Korea, where Minho had been born. Workers in the new factories started singing while they worked. Old songs, songs from the wars, songs about fighting and dying and never giving up. The songs spread. Workers in Brazil started singing them. Then workers in America and Europe and Africa, they sang in different languages, but the meaning was always the same. We are ready to fight. We are ready to die. We will never surrender. The alien observers sent worried reports to their governments. This was not normal behavior for a species facing extinction. Most species begged for mercy or tried to run away. They did not sing war songs. Harry's laboratories worked day and night. She had been reverse engineering alien technology for decades. But she had not just been copying it. She had been improving it. The aliens thought their energy shields were perfect. Harry had found 17 ways to break them. The aliens thought their faster-than-light drives were the best possible. Harry's new drives were twice as fast. Most importantly, the aliens thought they understood human weapons. They had studied Earth's nuclear missiles and plasma cannons. They thought they knew what humans could build. They were wrong. Subin's spy network activated. For 20 years, she had been sending cultural exchange students to alien worlds. Young humans who wanted to learn about other species. Friendly, curious people who asked lots of questions and took lots of pictures. Now those students sent back information. Not about alien art or music, about military bases and defense systems, about which worlds had the most important leaders, about which planets the aliens loved most. The intelligence flowed back to Earth like water. Within a week, Subin knew more about alien defenses than most alien generals. But the most disturbing change was in the children. Schools all over Earth started teaching new games. Games that looked like fun but were really training. Children learned to move quietly, to hide, to work together without talking. They learned to find food and water in dangerous places. They learned to build things from scraps, the children thought. It was wonderful. Their parents knew better. The alien observers watched human children playing hide-and-seek and capture the flag in other games. They did not understand that these children were learning to be soldiers. Artists started creating new works, paintings and movies and books that reminded people of Earth's history, not the peaceful parts, the parts about war and victory and sacrifice. A musician in Japan wrote a symphony called Earth Rising. It started quiet and sad, like a funeral song. But it ended with sounds like thunder and lightning. When people heard it, they felt something wake up inside them. A painter in Kenya created a series of pictures showing human soldiers from different wars, ancient warriors with spears, modern soldiers with rifles, future soldiers with weapons that did not exist yet. The message was clear. Humans had always been fighters. They always would be. The alien observers reported all of this to their leaders, but they still did not understand what they were seeing. The Council of Alien Races met to discuss the human situation. They decided that the humans were just making noise, like animals do when they are scared. They were so wrong. Minho stood in his command center and watched the reports come in, that factories were working at full capacity. The spy network was sending back detailed information about alien weaknesses. The new weapons were ahead of schedule, but most importantly, the human spirit was awakening. After 50 years of peace, after 50 years of trying to be civilized, the old instincts were coming back. Humans were remembering what they were good at. How long until the fleets are ready? Minho asked. 2 weeks for the first wave, Harry said. 1 month for the full battle groups. And the special projects, Harry smiled. It was not a nice smile. The aliens are going to get some very unpleasant surprises, Minho nodded. He looked at the star map on the wall. Red dots showed alien worlds, blue dots showed human colonies. For now, the red dots outnumbered the blue ones by 1,000 to 1, but numbers were not everything. The aliens were about to learn that lesson. Send a message to all human colonies, he said. Tell them to prepare for visitors, unfriendly visitors. What about the deadline? Subin asked. Do we give them an answer? Minho was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled. It was the same kind of smile that Harry had worn. We'll give them an answer, he said. Just not the one they expect. Outside, Earth continued its preparations. The giant was waking up, and when it opened its eyes, the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council waited for Earth's answer. They expected surrender. They expected begging. They expected the humans to accept their terms and beg for mercy. Instead, they got silence for 3 days. No word came from Earth, no diplomatic messages, no pleas for more time, nothing. On the 4th day, the Council decided to act. Admiral Zektar commanded the punishment fleet. He was a Vector like Ambassador Velshin, but older and more warlike. His crystal body was darker, with veins of red light that pulsed like a heartbeat. 50 ships should be enough, he told his officers. We will destroy their moon bases. Show them what happens when children challenge their elders. The fleet left Council space and headed for the Sol system. 50 warships, each one bigger than anything humans had ever built. Ships that had conquered 100 worlds. They expected to find Earth's defenses in chaos. Panicked human soldiers trying to put together a last-minute resistance. Instead, they found Admiral Bang Hyanwu waiting for them. Bang was 55 years old. He had been commanding Earth's moon bases for 10 years. Officially, the bases were for mining and research. They had telescopes and laboratories and facilities for processing moon rocks. But Bang had been a submarine captain during Earth's last war. He knew how to hide. He knew how to wait. And he knew how to strike without warning. The alien fleet dropped out of faster-than-light speed near Earth's moon. Their sensors showed the expected human bases. Small, lightly defended, easy targets. They did not see the real defenses. Hidden in craters and buried under moon dust were weapon systems that had been built over decades, missile launchers that looked like mining equipment, energy cannons disguised as radio telescopes, fighter bays hidden in what appeared to be storage facilities. All ships, this is Admiral Zektar, the alien commander broadcast. Surrender immediately, or be destroyed. Bang sat in his command center, deep under the moon's surface. Around him, the screens showed the alien fleet, 50 ships arranged in a perfect formation, like they were on parade. "They're not even trying to hide," said Commander Chen Yujin. She was Bang's best pilot, a young woman with eyes like a hawk. "They think this is going to be easy. Let them think that," Bang said quietly. For a few more minutes, he opened a communication channel to the alien fleet. "This is Admiral Bang of the Earth Defense Forces. You have entered our space without permission. Leave now, and no one has to die." The alien laughter sounded like breaking glass over the radio. "Foolish humans," Zektar said. "You have no defense forces. You have no weapons. You are farmers and merchants pretending to be soldiers." Bang's face did not change, but something cold and hard settled in his eyes. "You're right," he said. "We're not soldiers. We're something worse." The communication ended for a moment. Space was quiet. Then, the moon exploded into light. What the aliens thought were mining facilities opened up to reveal missile launchers, hundreds of them, firing at once. What they thought were research stations turned out to be particle beam weapons, more powerful than anything in the alien fleet. Most shocking of all, what they thought were storage areas opened to reveal fighter squadrons, small, fast ships that moved like angry wasps. Yujin led the first squadron out. Her ship was called Fury's Edge. It was smaller than an alien fighter, but it was twice as fast and armed with weapons that should not have existed. "All fighters, this is Yujin. Remember your training. Remember what they threatened to do to our families." The human fighters did not fight like the aliens expected. They did not form neat formations or follow standard tactics. They fought like pack hunters, working together to isolate and destroy individual alien ships. Yujin's squadron targeted the alien flagship. 6 human fighters against a ship that was a mile long. It should have been suicide. Instead, it was murder. The human fighters were too fast, too unpredictable. They used the alien ship's size against it, hiding in its blind spots, striking at weak points that the aliens did not know they had. Yujin's weapons cut through the flagship's shields like they were made of paper. Her missiles found gaps in the armor that alien engineers had thought were impossible to hit. But the most terrifying part was not the weapons. It was the way the humans fought. They did not just want to win. They wanted to destroy completely. Totally, they wanted to make sure that no alien who threatened Earth would ever get the chance to do it again. The alien fleet tried to retreat. Half their ships were already destroyed, and the rest were badly damaged. They had never faced anything like this, but the humans did not let them leave. "Where do you think you're going?" Yujin's voice came over the radio. It was cheerful, almost friendly. That made it more frightening. The human fighters hunted down the retreating aliens one by one. They did not accept surrender. They did not take prisoners. They just killed. Meanwhile, Lim Jae-sung was leading his Marines in boarding actions against the few alien ships that were still intact. Jae-sung was a big man, built like a bear, with scars on his arms from Earth's old wars. His Marines were not the neat, disciplined soldiers that the aliens expected. They were something else, something that fought not just with weapons, but with rage. When Jae-sung's team boarded the alien cruiser Sectaris Pride, the alien crew tried to surrender. They threw down their weapons and begged for mercy. The humans ignored them. "You came to our home," Jae-sung said as his Marines systematically destroyed the alien ship from the inside. "You threatened our children. You thought we would beg." The alien captain, a Morden with patterns of fear flashing across his tentacles, tried to explain. "We were following orders. This was just a demonstration. We were not going to kill anyone." Jae-sung looked at him with eyes that had seen too much war. "Neither were we," he said. "But you woke something up, and now it's too late to put it back to sleep." The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the alien punishment fleet was gone. Not defeated, not retreated, gone. Destroyed so completely that there was nothing left but dust and radiation. Not a single human had died. Admiral Bang stood in his command center and looked at the battle reports. 50 alien warships destroyed. 0 survivors. 0 witnesses. Sir Yujin said, "Should we send a message to the council? Tell them what happened?" Bang shook his head. "No message. Let them wonder. Let them worry." He looked at the star charts on his wall. Beyond Earth's system, there were alien worlds full of alien families. Alien children who did not know that their parents had just declared war on humanity. "Begin phase 2, he said. "It's time to teach the galaxy what happens when you threaten humans." Yujin smiled. It was not a nice smile. "What about the rest of their fleet? They have thousands of ships." Bang's expression did not change, but Something dark moved behind his eyes. Something that had been sleeping for 50 years. "They can build 1,000,000 ships," he said. "It won't matter, because now they're not fighting human soldiers, they're fighting human monsters. And monsters don't play by rules." In the depths of space, the wreckage of the alien fleet drifted silently. No one would ever know what had happened here. The aliens had come to give humanity a lesson in power. Instead, they had learned something much more important. There are things in the universe that should not be awakened, things that sleep quietly until they are threatened, things that, once roused, will not stop until everything that threatens them is dead. Humanity was one of those things, and now it was awake. The Galactic Council waited for news from Admiral Zektar's fleet. They expected a quick report: human moon bases destroyed, Earth properly intimidated, the rebellion over. Instead, they got silence. For 2 weeks they heard nothing. No battle reports, no victory messages, no communication at all. Then the deep space monitors detected something impossible. 50 signatures had entered the Sol system, now there were none. Not destroyed signatures, not retreated signatures, simply ... gone. Ambassador Velshin called an emergency meeting. "This is impossible," he said to the assembled council. 50 warships do not simply disappear. The Morden delegates' tentacles flashed nervous colors. Perhaps they were delayed, perhaps their communications were damaged. For 2 weeks, the Cathara representatives' mandibles clicked rapidly. No, something has happened, something bad. But what worried the council more than the missing fleet was what happened next. Humanity went silent. All human communications stopped. Every human ship in council space simply vanished. Trade between human colonies and alien worlds ended overnight. It was as if humanity had simply ceased to exist. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Song Kite commanded the Deep Strike fleet. Most people did not know the Deep Strike fleet existed. Officially, Song was a cargo ship captain who hauled supplies between human colonies. In reality, he was something much more dangerous. For 20 years, Song had been mapping the dark spaces between alien worlds. He knew routes that were not on any official charts. He knew where to hide ships so that no sensor could find them. And he knew how to make aliens afraid. All ships maintain communication silence, Song broadcast to his fleet. "Remember, we are ghosts now. We do not exist until we choose to." His fleet was spread across 50 light-years of space. Invisible ships hiding in asteroid fields and gas clouds. Ships that watched alien worlds and learned their secrets. But Song's most dangerous weapon was not his ships. It was Kim Na-Young. Na-Young had been a teacher before the war. She taught psychology at Seoul University. She understood how minds worked, how fear grew, how entire civilizations could be broken without firing a shot. Now she was humanity's weapon of terror. "Begin the Whisper campaign," she told her team. Across alien space, the whispers started. Strange signals that appeared on alien communication networks for just a few seconds. Messages that could not be traced, could not be blocked, could not be stopped. "We know where you live. We know where your children sleep. We know which worlds you love most." The messages appeared on alien military channels, on civilian networks, on personal communication devices, everywhere and nowhere at once. But the most frightening part was not the messages. It was what came after. Human ships began appearing at the edge of alien systems. Not attacking, not communicating, just watching. A Vector mining colony detected a human ship at the edge of their system. The ship did nothing. It just sat there, silent and motionless, for 3 days. Then it vanished. A Morden trade convoy found human vessels following them through hyperspace. The humans stayed just at the edge of sensor range, like sharks following wounded prey. When the convoy reached port, the human ships disappeared. The aliens tried to respond. They sent warships to investigate. They found nothing. The humans were always gone by the time help arrived. Park Woo-jin commanded the Stealth Reconnaissance Corps. His job was to make the aliens understand that nowhere was safe. Woo-jin was a small, quiet man who had once been a burglar during Earth's last war. He had used his skills to infiltrate enemy bases. Now he used them to terrify an entire galaxy. His teams appeared on alien worlds without warning. They did not attack military bases or steal weapons. Instead, they did something much more frightening. They took pictures. Pictures of alien leaders, families, pictures of alien children playing in parks, pictures of alien homes and schools and hospitals. Then they left the pictures where they would be found, on the alien leader's desk. In their bedroom, next to their child's bed. No threats, no demands, just pictures that said, "We were here, we could have done anything, we chose not to." This time, the psychological effect was devastating. Alien leaders began hiring more bodyguards. Alien families moved to hidden locations. Entire alien worlds went into lockdown, afraid that human terrorists might appear at any moment. But the humans were not terrorists. They were something worse. They were patient. "How long do we keep this up?" Woo-jin asked Song during one of their rare meetings. Song looked at the star charts showing alien space. Red dots marked worlds that were living in fear. Yellow dots marked worlds that had increased their security. Green dots marked worlds that had not yet realized they were being watched. There were very few green dots left. Until they break, Song said. Until they understand that threatening Earth was the worst mistake they ever made. And then, Song's smile was cold as space. Then we show them what breaking really means. The whisper campaign intensified. My unc's messages became more specific, more personal. To the Vector High Council. Your families are beautiful when they sleep. We especially like the crystal gardens around your children's schools. To the Modern Trade Assembly. The water in your home tanks smells like fear now. We wonder how it will taste when we add our own ingredients. To the Cathara hive mothers. Your larvae make such interesting sounds. We have been listening to them for weeks. Each message came with proof. Pictures that showed that humans had been where they claimed. Evidence that no security system could keep them out. The aliens began to understand that they were not fighting a war. They were being hunted. Some alien worlds tried to fight back. They sent fleets to attack human colonies. But when the fleets arrived, they found the colonies empty, not destroyed, just gone, as if millions of humans had simply vanished into space. That other worlds tried to negotiate. They sent messages to Earth, offering peace, offering to forget the whole conflict. Earth did not answer. The silence was more terrifying than any threat. Months passed. The alien economy began to collapse. Trade routes that had operated for thousands of years shut down because no one dared to travel them. Alien families lived in constant fear, waiting for human monsters to appear in their homes, and still, Earth was silent. The Galactic Council met in emergency session after emergency session. They had never faced anything like this. They were used to fighting other civilizations, other armies. They were not used to fighting an enemy that could be anywhere, could strike anyone, could disappear without a trace. We must do something, Velshan said. His crystal body flickered with desperate light. The humans are destroying us without even fighting. What can we do? Asked the Morden representative. We cannot fight ghosts. We cannot negotiate with. Silence. The Cathara delegates' mandibles clicked nervously. Perhaps we should have listened to their warning. Perhaps we should have left them alone. Velshan's light flared angry red. They are just one species. We are thousands of civilizations. We have been rulers of this galaxy for millennia. And yet, said a quiet voice from the back of the chamber, we are the ones who are afraid. The speaker was an old Vector, older than anyone else on the council. His crystal body was so ancient that it had begun to turn white at the edges. I remember the last time we faced something like this. The old being said it was 50,000 years ago. A species that fought not just to win, but to survive. A species that would rather die than surrender. What happened to them? Velt asked. The old Vector was quiet for a long moment. We destroyed them, he said, all of them, every man, woman and child, because we knew that if we left even one alive, they would never stop hunting us. The chamber fell silent. Are you suggesting, Velshan said slowly, that we cannot defeat the humans? The old Vector looked at him with eyes that had seen the rise and fall of civilizations. I am suggesting, he said, that we have awakened something that should have been left alone, and now we must live with the consequences, or die with them. In the dark between stars, Song Kite's fleet continued its silent hunt, watching, waiting, learning every weakness, every fear, every vulnerability. The aliens thought they were the predators, but they were wrong. Humanity had become something that the galaxy had never seen before. Not conquerors, not warriors, hunters, and the hunt had only just begun. 2 years had passed since the Galactic Council gave humanity its ultimatum. 2 years since Admiral Zektar's fleet had vanished into the dark. The galaxy was dying. Not from war, not from invasion, from fear. Trade between alien worlds had almost stopped. Families lived in underground bunkers. Entire civilizations had fled to distant systems, hoping that distance would protect them from human monsters. It did not. O Singho stood on the bridge of his flagship, Earth's Vengeance. He was the supreme commander of human forces, though most aliens did not know he existed. For 2 years he had watched the galaxy tear itself apart with terror. Now it was time to end the hunt. Send a message to the Galactic Council, he told his communications officer. Tell them I want to meet. The officer looked surprised. For 2 years, humanity had maintained complete silence. Now they were reaching out. What should the message say, sir? Sung Ho looked at the star charts showing alien space. Once, those stars had burned bright with the light of confident civilizations. Now they flickered like dying candles. Tell them the monster wants to talk. The message reached the council within hours. The response came back even faster. Anywhere you want, anytime you want, please. The meeting was set for Harmony's Edge, the same neutral station where it had all begun. But when the council delegates arrived, they found the station had changed. Human ships surrounded it. Not the cargo vessels and exploration craft that the aliens remembered. These were warships. Dark, angular vessels that looked like they had been built for one purpose. Killing. The station itself had been modified. Human engineers had been working on it for months, turning the diplomatic meeting place into something else. Something that reminded visitors that they were not in charge anymore. Ambassador Velshan's crystal body flickered with nervous light as he entered the main chamber. The other alien delegates looked just as frightened. The Morden's tentacles were pale with fear. The Catharis mandibles clicked rapid patterns of distress. At the center of the chamber sat 3 humans. Sung-ho was a tall man with gray hair and eyes like winter storms. Next to him sat Han Baram, a small woman with a kind face and gentle voice. At the end of the table was Yang Taiman, a young soldier who watched the aliens like a wolf watching sheep. The contrast was deliberate. The galaxy's most powerful leaders, terrified and begging. 3 humans, calm and in control. "Thank you for coming," Bjoram said. Her voice was soft and motherly. That made her words even more frightening. She had been chosen for this meeting very carefully. Before the war, she had been a child psychologist. She understood how to talk to frightened creatures. She knew how to make them feel safe while explaining why they should be terrified. "We have some things to discuss," she continued. "About the future. About how things are going to work from now on." Velshin tried to speak, but his voice came out as broken static. He cleared his vocal processes and tried again. We want to end this. We want peace." Bjoram smiled. It was a warm, understanding smile, the kind a mother gives to a child who has done something wrong. "Of course you do," she said. "You're scared. That's natural. When children play with fire and get burned, they want the pain to stop." She leaned forward slightly. "But you're not children, are you? Your ancient civilizations? Rulers of the galaxy? You made a choice 2 years ago. Now you have to live with the consequences." The Morden delegates' tentacles writhed in patterns of desperate pleading. "We were wrong. We admit it. We should not have threatened you. Please, just tell us what you want." Sung-Hu spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet, but it filled the chamber. "What we want," he said, "is for you to understand something very important." He stood up and walked to the chamber's viewing window. Outside, alien ships floated helplessly while human warships watched them like predators. "For 50 years, we tried to be good neighbors. We shared our discoveries. We traded fairly. We followed your rules and respected your boundaries." He turned back to face the aliens. "And the moment we became inconvenient, you decided to put us in a cage. Or kill us, you didn't care which." Velshin's light flared desperately. "It was a mistake. We were afraid of change, afraid of us," Sung-Ho finished. "Yes, you were right to be afraid." He walked back to the table and sat down. You made a fundamental error. You thought we were like you. You thought we would follow the same patterns as every other species you had encountered." Bjoram picked up the explanation, her gentle voice making the words even more chilling. "But we're not like other species. When other species are threatened, they either fight or surrender. When we're threatened, we become something else entirely." She gestured to Yang, who had been silent until now. "Yang here was born after the war started. He has never known peace. Do you know what that makes him?" Yang smiled. He was young, maybe 25, with the kind of face that should have been friendly. Instead, it was the face of someone who had been raised to be a weapon. It makes me very good at my job," he said. The aliens looked at him with growing horror. "Your job," Velshin whispered. "Ending threats to humanity," Yang said simply, permanently. Bjoram nodded approvingly. "Yang represents the new generation. Humans who don't remember when we tried to be peaceful. They only know one way to solve problems." He looked at each alien delegate in turn. "You wanted to see the monster from our history books, but that wasn't the real monster. The real monster is what we become when we stop trying to be civilized." Sung-Ho placed a document on the table. It was thick, hundreds of pages long. "These are the new rules," he said. "The galaxy's new government structure. You will read them, you will sign them, you will obey them." The Cathara delegates' mandibles clicked frantically. "Government structure? We don't understand." Bjoram's smile never wavered. "The Galactic Council is dissolved, effective immediately. Humanity will manage interstellar relations from now on, but you're just one species among thousands. Yes, Sung-Ho said. One species that you should have left alone." He touched the control, and the chamber's screens came alive. They showed star maps, fleet positions, weapon specifications. The aliens saw, for the first time, the true scope of what humanity had built. Hidden fleets that outnumbered all alien forces combined. Weapons that could crack planets. Defense systems that made entire solar systems into fortresses. "This is what we built while you slept peacefully in your beds," Sung-Ho said. "While you ruled the galaxy and thought you were safe." Velshin's crystal body flickered like a dying star. "This is impossible. You couldn't have built all this. Not without us knowing." Yang laughed. It was not a nice sound. "You knew," he said. "Your spies reported everything. Factories working overtime. Ships moving in the dark. Weapons being tested in remote systems." His smile got colder. "You just didn't believe we could be that dangerous. You thought we were farmers and merchants playing at being soldiers." Bjoram leaned back in her chair. "The terms are simple," she said. "Complete surrender. Reparations that will take centuries to pay. Permanent monitoring of all alien military forces, and a new understanding of how the galaxy works." "Which is?" the Morden delegate asked weakly. "Humanity protects itself," Sung-Ho said, "by any means necessary. If that means ruling the galaxy, then we rule the galaxy. If that means wiping out entire species that threaten us, then we wipe them out. The chamber fell silent except for the humming of the station's engines. Finally Velshan spoke, and if we refuse, Bjorm's expression did not change. But something dark moved behind her kind eyes. Then Yang and his generation will show you what they learned in school. She gestured to the young soldier,